Update, it is wet outside. Shock. Happens every single day, apart from yesterday. We had a good one finally. I got to play some golf, and I've been getting back into it. I joined up in my local club, and I've been playing pretty well for my level, and had my first 100 in a long time. Probably 10 years, I reckon, since I had that. So 29 over, little dirty one. Could not hit the ball in the right direction to save my life, but coming off a 16 over into a 29, we'll get back on track. But in terms of fantasy, it's been a pretty slow week, and as you can see with my side so far, the big decisions of the week are going to be around looping. It's going to be around captaincy as well. So I think personally, taking off the captaincy from Cleary this week seems like a smart enough move, given the situation that he finds himself up against the Storm boys, and there's plenty to think about around those games in general. Because when you look at this one, it's in Sydney. It looks like we've had in Sydney, Central Coast, plenty of rain as well, so that plays a really big factor. I think the Broncos clash with the Dolphins is a really good one for Payne Haas. So I have him pretty well neck and neck with Terrell May at the moment. The big reason you'd go Terrell is more around the rest factor and the big chance that he can play 80 minutes this week, coming off pretty low score there. Now Payne I thought looked really, really good, and if things end up looking okay, I'll check the weather in Brizzy as well while we are here, and it looks like the weekend's going to be awesome for them. So a really good situation for Payne to play big minutes like we saw last week. He needed to, he needs to with their bench and with Willison gone. And Paddy Carrigan as well had to play big minutes. Yes, the injuries came, but more for their bench. So 50-50 coin flip with those guys. And just to reiterate, with my looping this week, it's King Tonga in 5 and then Jackson Ford in the 6 there. And if both of those guys don't perform to the level I want, and please Jackson Ford get back to a 50 odd, then Garrick will come into the side, and you see they're Hosking in the starting side there. In this scenario here, guys, the reason he's in that starting side is so I can easily loop Ford in that one. I could actually put him in 7, to be fair, with that situation. Yeah, that's the smarter pick, the smarter play there. And they've got the second game of the week, Waz and the Dragons boys there. Now, could I triple loop? That's probably the question. Don't think I can I? Can we put Clarkey into 6? Maybe. I'll play around with that myself, not bore you with that. But I just think the reason, guys, I had Ford in there at 6, but how this would actually work, and really no point of leaving him in 6 there when I've got no edges on the bench. Ford can stay in 7, because if I like his score, I can keep Hosking where he is. I can keep Nafahu White where he is in mid and take his score from there. Now, if I didn't like his score, I would, in this scenario, be wanting to move Hosking out of that starting side, because if I leave it as is, Ford, I would be taking the score. So then Nafahu White would be switched out. So he'd sub out for Watson in this scenario, just so I then had the edge to move Nafahu White to Zach Hosking there. Now, if I want to loop a third guy, because I'm sitting there with the 3 trades, with Tarpanay and with Hosking, there's a good chance I can move Hosking on. Now, I only have 3k in the bank, but if I don't want those guys and I want to loop again, right, then I can put one of our boys in 6 there and make that decision from there. So that would be where that is at. The question would be then, who and how could I loop again? Would it be with mid? Yeah, it would be with mid, wouldn't it? Yeah, in that scenario, I could move. Yeah, I could do a few things. It gets pretty funky after that game, but we'll decide. We'd probably have to look at like looping Watson in that scenario. If you guys are checking this out before I go and have a little look myself, jump in the comments and let me know if you see a clear looping opportunity with my Roosters as well. Let's just say, even if I was interested in taking the 2 scores, right, I could put the third guy in there. Yeah, it probably only works if I didn't want to take one of the scores or 0 of the scores, and then I could loop again just before making that final decision. But let's just say Watson was down in 6. Then I would loop mid, And then Tarpanay would have to come out into that position there with Nafahu White, and then Nafahu White would have to go to Angus Crichton in that one. And then I'll just be playing him straight up off the bench. That's assuming I was taking forward too. Yeah, okay, so I can muck around with looping mid as well, which actually ends up looking okay. I don't mind that. I do not mind that at all. So there you go. That's what we're here for. Looping and general strategy to finish off the... So yeah, let's put White in there. Because if Watson's off the bench again, it's a little bit frustrating, right? So that's something we have to think about. So in that case, it would be not wanting to take forward, I think. And if I didn't want to take... Or I could do both. Yeah, so if I didn't want to take King Tonga, I like forward score. That means I'm going to loop Watson. Yeah. So Hosking could stay in edge and I could get forward score. I'd then be able to loop Watson and just see. Maybe? Probably not. Yeah, I'd still have to move White to edge. Then I might have to bring in a mid. Okay, it's getting full on now. So, maybe Donahue can muck around with Clark. It's too much to think about. Maybe it's looping Clark in that second game anyway. Now, strategy going forward. 4 rounds to go. With this week having 19 pretty good players, King Tonga and Garrick would be sort of my last and second last best players, and then probably sitting there with Watson as well as that next guy on the list that we are not too excited to play right now. I'm very happy to have Adam Dewey in the side after his 80-odd a couple of weeks ago, and 3 trades. So if I end up holding this week, it's 3 trades for 3 weeks. It's probably going to be an injury. In that case, I have Nico Hines out next week, just the one guy, and pretty happy with the rest of the squad. Like, they're all very playable, which is nice. And then we've got some decisions to make. Is it like generic upgrades? Is it up and down? Is it, waiting for an injury and just straight swapping to one of these guns? Is it going for one of those mid-ranges? Is it upgrading Hosking if he's on the bench? There's lots of those questions, and just me saying sort of 5 or 6 of them out loud probably means that this week there's less to think about for my side, and next week there is a little bit more that can happen and that will come up with a few of the players. We'll get to see Garrick at centre this week. We'll get another week from Turbo at fullback and a few of the players in my side. And we'll definitely be able to loop next week, at least one, which is good. And the question's going to be, do we then upgrade that week, or do we end up holding a few trades for the second last and that final round when carnage can ensue and we can end up with a really strong 17 in those last 2 weeks to get this train all the way home into clear top 500. We need to beat last year at least with the 757 overall, and we are sitting there right now and sitting in a good spot trades-wise. So that's generally the thought process in my side there. For the overall rankings, we've got Andrew still kicking up top, and just a little bit of interesting stuff in second there with Daniels. Had an incredible season. He's down to 0 trades, and at the moment, heading into this week, he's cleared out all his Raiders, so that's a good spot for him on that. He has Isaiah Yeo to loop. He's got Tino back, which is good, so he'll have to pop Isaiah in that starting side to be able to loop him, or to use him at all in a loop. But generally should be sweet this week, should do well. Cooper's in at third, and he's got Tarpanay and Fogs, along with Fletcher Hunt, who's out. So an 18-strong side, and you can see they're very much a safe position with 18 of those players. Pretty good, with Turbo likely his least best player at this point, or Drinky. So yeah, he's in a good spot this week without having to definitely use a trade, and has a fair few. So that's another little question mark here. He's got 6 trades remaining. How are they going to be used? Will they be used efficiently for someone that's an actual upgrade, or is it going to be like, I think this guy's got a bit of a hunch. So I've got a hunch that this guy's got a nice run, or he may be able to finish the season really well, and I think he'll do better than this other guy that I have. So do I try and go for Latrell, or these types of questions for Coop there? For Jakey Boy, I think he's got 3 trades left, so a collection of those, the Cooks and Drinkies and Turbos and these types of guys there. But you can see here down with Yo, who's out of this one. He's got Hosking and Tarpany, so 3 big dogs that are out, and then sitting there with Latu, Fainu, and Joash Papali. So in this scenario, love it. He's probably best served to make one trade to get him in a position where, at the moment it's 18 actual players, 16 actually really good players. So if he makes that one trade from Yo or a Hosking or a Tarpany, gets him to a pretty strong 17, and then has looping capabilities in Papali and also Latu Fainu there. So that's the general thought for me on that one, replacing Tarpany and Hosking with 2 good scorers, loop Cook, do a few things like that would be how I played. And then we've got August and 5th, just to finish this video off, guys, with his August's situation here. So no Raiders up top, has Latrell already, which is good, has Isaiah Yo in the out here. So again, moving him into that mid position and doing a little bit of looping with mids, although has a tremendous amount of middles. It's going to be very difficult to do. Hopgood, May, Tino, all on the bench. So yeah, it's not actually going to work incredibly well. That loop there with just too many mids in the side. So yeah, you could pop him in the 4, but whoever you put in the 5 just goes straight into the starting side, into the starting 17. So not as much flexibility with that one there. Probably the last thing for me to talk about with my side, guys, is actually who I'd trade in. I haven't looked into it too much just because I think I am going to be holding this week. But if it is Hosking, I've got 647,000 didgeridoos to spend. And you can see there, I can't get to Munster, which is a little bit frustrating. It's McInnes, it's King, Liero, Verrills, Jolliffe. So it's not super exciting there. Like JJ is probably the safest bet. Verrills has been doing really well. But all these guys have opportunities to do well. They also have 41s in them, like Max King, even after some good scores. DeBellin got back to a nice one there. Stefano is in a solid position. IPAP's in a good spot there. But it's not incredible. So like if I'm making that upgrade, it's not a tremendous improvement on the side. And that's where you scroll down to guys like Reece Walsh is a bit of a punt. You've got Tino, same deal. And then players like Jermaine Hopgood in there at 546 that could probably do a better job than a lot of guys. So I'll do my loops and hopefully those 2 guys play well and I can take scores and kind of leave the odd player out. But until we see that, I won't be able to make that decision. But I think Hopgood's the guy that does stand out, with the mid and edge dual capabilities there, and there's not too many other guys that are of clear availability for my team at that 647 or below range, whether I sold Tarpany or Hosking. And I would love to have like a Carrigan in the side. I think he's a really good guy to own. Kaipi Paul I've been talking about. Munster's great for the next 3 weeks, I think, until they get a rest. So yeah, it's a bit of a week for me on that front because there's no one really of note to go to apart from Hopgood. So that's my trades video for the week, guys. Keeping it short and sweet. I hope that found you well, and the looping stuff can be a bit highbrow and a bit hard to think of, especially if you're a little bit tired or something. But it's very, very helpful for your side week to week if you can get in a good position to make sure that you can get the most points available to you each and every week. As simple as that. So thanks so much, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.